Hey class, Mr. Housen here again. Today we're going to be taking a trip around the Earth. This is going to be a pretty relaxed day. I want you to use this time to catch up on some of the more lengthy assignments I've had out. Still haven't had many of those turned in. So today there's no assignment, but I would like you to watch this. And we're going to be starting at a height of zero point 0.1 kilometers. So about a tenth of a kilometer up in the air, and it's looking down at the space shuttle, Discovery. NASA no longer uses the space shuttle, it's retired, but a lot of them are in different places around the United States. There's a space shuttle trainer, a fake one, nearby in Seattle at the Museum of Flight. They also have one in Florida and California, and I think around New York or something. So we're going to keep going up further and further, and we're using kilometers, not miles, into the sky. And I want you to notice when you start to see the curve of the Earth. This is to look for when do we start to see the curve of the Earth. And we are in Florida, like I said before. We're at the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral. That is one of two main places where space launches happen, are in Florida and Texas. All right, so let's start going up. So then we go up. You can already see when we're going up 0.4 kilometers, we are up in the sky, and you can start to see some buildings. And I want you to think about what you notice. You might notice this huge shadow from this building. So you can see what direction the sun is on. You can see some very big parking lots here. You can still see the space shuttle. And think about how big a space shuttle is. Much bigger than a classroom. Can be smaller than a school, though. And then this huge building here, this building is where a lot of rockets and spacecraft are made and then brought out to the launch pad. Let's go up further. And holy cow, you can see this kind of looks like a Google Earth image. You can start to see the roads going off. You can see some lakes or ponds or wetlands out in the on the edges here. Remember, this is Florida. And you can still see lots of parking room and buildings off here, and just how big that building is. You can still see its shadow, and you might barely notice you can still see the space shuttle right there. And we're 5 kilometers up from the Earth. No sign of the Earth curved at this point. Everything still looks flat. Okay, let's go up. Now you'll notice, again, this is satellite imagery. And it's fairly old satellite imagery. This is what they give the teachers for science. So as we're going up 10 kilometers, you can still see the shadow from that building, but you can no longer see the space shuttle. You can still see that shadow there. And now you can see the coastline and the horizon, the ocean. This is the Atlantic Ocean along Florida here. Still looks very, very flat. If you were up 10 kilometers, you still would not see much of a curve, although the horizon does end out there. Another cool thing is you can see this long road curving up here, and it goes out to this circle out there. That's a launch pad. That's where rockets lift off, which is really cool. They keep it very far away from the facilities in case there was an accident, right? So let's go even further, and I want you to really pay attention to that horizon to see if you see any curvature. We're at 10 kilometers, and now we're going to go up to 25. Okay, and now we're 25 kilometers, and you can really notice, look how far the coastline of Florida goes along here. You can still see this little area where NASA is, where Kennedy Space Center is, and you can still see the shadow of that building. That's a pretty big building. You see the launch pad there, and you can just ever so slightly see the curve, but it's still kind of hard to tell. Just barely looks curved right there. And you're really starting to see a huge section of Florida, 25 kilometers up. Let's go to 50 kilometers. That's twice as high. Holy moly. Can you still see the shadow of the building? Maybe, barely. I see a little black part there. And you can still see all of Cape Canaveral and the launch pad. And look how the water comes in there. That's why it's called a cape, because it comes out like that. And this coastline of Florida reaching all the way up to upper Florida, maybe even Georgia up there. And you can see the ocean, and you can just start to see the Earth becoming more and more curved. Let's go further. Now we're going to go 230 kilometers. Whoa. And now we can definitely see the curve of the Earth if we're 230 kilometers up in the air. We're very far. I can't see, definitely can't see the shadow of the building. Definitely can't even see, I think it's right around there somewhere. Where the coast of Florida is. It goes all the way up there. You can see the coast, starting to see the coast of the eastern seaboard, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina through there, and you can see a distinct curve in the land and the sea. Okay, let's go up to 850. All right, now we're pretty much getting close to space there. We're in the upper atmosphere, and you can see almost all of Florida, except for the very end right here. The big panhandle that kind of sticks out into the ocean here. You can see both sides. You can see a huge section of the United States, and the water. You can start to see some of the islands out here, Bermuda Islands, and the definite curvature of the Earth. You're seeing the layers of the atmosphere there. And let's go up further. We're now 1,280 kilometers up, and you can see a huge section of North America, all of Florida, almost a huge section of Southeast United States, Southern United States. You can see part of Cuba down here, and the Bahamian Islands and the Bermuda Islands along there, and definite curving of the Earth. And let's go to the final distance there of 2,890 kilometers up from our starting point on that edge of Florida right there. You can see just about all the United States. Can't quite see Washington. You can see down into parts of Mexico here, all the Caribbean islands, most of the Caribbean islands down there. A huge part of the Atlantic Ocean, big part of the Gulf of Mexico. You can see up to Canada and the Great Lakes, and you can definitely see the round, like a ball-shaped Earth, the spherical Earth. You can see part of the curvature there now that we're heading into space. So you can definitely see the curve from 2,890 kilometers. When do you start to see it? Well, as we go back down, you can see it there, you can see it there, and you can just barely see it there. But you can definitely see a curvature at 850, I would say, and slightly at 230 kilometers. And depends if you're very eagle-eyed, you can barely see it at 50 kilometers. But as you get further to what most of us see, buildings aren't this tall. If you're up in a plane, 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers, looks very flat as we get down to our starting point right there with the space shuttle. All right, guys, that was our trip up into space looking at the curvature of the Earth. No assignment for you to turn in today, but do take this time and catch up on your assignments and turn them in. All right, talk to you guys later.